Building the Second Home, Xuefeng's State of Mind, by Xuefeng. Because of my deep attachment to my hometown, the thousand-year world, I have never felt truly at ease living in the human world. This short human life is filled with suffering and hardship, and the root of such suffering lies in the flaws of the human soul. The perfection of an individual requires the protection of a perfect collective, and a perfect collective depends on perfect individuals to sustain it. If a perfect apple is placed into a basket full of rotten apples, that perfect apple cannot remain perfect. It will be corrupted. Likewise, even if the whole basket is full of perfect apples, once one apple starts to rot, it will contaminate the entire basket. Therefore, to keep the whole basket fresh, not a single apple should be rotten, and once an apple begins to decay, it must be immediately removed. The construction of the second home is fraught with crises and difficulties. If we compare the second home to a basket of apples, and the Chanyuan celestials who enter it to the apples themselves, then each apple entering the basket must first be perfect. If this first step is not handled properly, endless troubles will follow. But where can we find such perfect apples? After being polluted by the secular world, few apples remain flawless. Their souls bear many defects. Therefore, we must first collect these flawed apples into the basket and then cleanse them. Yet washing with plain water is not enough. Various chemical solutions must be used to purify and preserve them, repairing their imperfections and preventing rot. Through this process, some apples, like cancer cells, prove impossible to cleanse. These must be promptly removed from the basket. In theory, all problems can be easily solved. But in practice, the process is exceedingly complex and difficult because people are not apples. To remove someone involves numerous emotional and moral obstacles. Only when the entire society recognizes the value, significance, and importance of the second home for humanity and cooperates in all aspects can it be successfully built and sustainably developed. Only when every Chanyuan celestial consciously disciplines themselves according to the guidance of the guide can the ideal and beautiful second home be realized. Yet expecting full societal understanding and support is unrealistic, even impossible. If society merely allows the second home to exist and develop without obstruction, that would already be a great blessing. Likewise, expecting every Chanyuan celestial to always act with full self-discipline is also impossible. If they can simply live without causing trouble, it is already commendable. The second home must ensure that every Chanyuan celestial lives without worry or sorrow, that everyone's food, clothing, housing, health, and old age are cared for, that the natural environment is beautiful, a true earthly paradise, clean, orderly, poetic, and harmonious. People must coexist with warmth and kindness, live happily, freely, and joyfully. At the same time, everyone must clearly understand the heavenly kingdom and its path, continually refining their life quality and ultimately ascending to the 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, or the Elysium world, the celestial island continent. The magnitude of such work and the challenges to overcome are imaginable. If one truly trusts Xuefeng, everything becomes easy. The most beautiful personal wishes and the greatest human ideal can and will be fulfilled. But since everyone has their own ideas and first considers their own interests and gains, what should be easy becomes difficult. What should be simple becomes complicated, and both personal and collective ideals are hard to realize. Why should anyone trust Xuefeng? People barely believe in the greatest creator. How could they believe in a mortal like me? Facts are laid before them, yet many still doubt or believe only in part, always keeping suspicion in their hearts. Even Confucius understood, when the great way prevails, the world belongs to all. If everyone could cast aside selfishness, greed, and arrogance, and let the world belong to all, then everyone could live happily, freely, and joyfully. The less selfish one is, the greater one becomes, and the more one gains. Yet to overcome selfishness, greed, and arrogance is exceedingly difficult. The purpose of Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings was to leave suffering and attain joy. To leave suffering and attain joy is simple. Just keep the mind unattached, free from hindrance, selflessness, and egolessness. Yet to reach a state of no attachment and no hindrance is incredibly hard. To be truly selfless and egoless is like ascending to heaven. Recently, someone left the community in anger. Why? Because after reading my article, satire, criticism, and one-on-one correction, they felt I was humiliating them and could not bear it. I, Xuefeng, have placed all good things openly on the table. Yet when I make any demand of my guests, they become unhappy, enjoying the finest meals while still complaining that I am not servile enough, picking and choosing, and even dumping their emotional garbage on me. Just a few days ago, something both amusing and absurd happened. A Chanyuan celestial shouted at me, "Do you want me to leave? This is the kingdom of the greatest creator. Who are you to tell me to go? If anyone should leave, it's you, Xuefeng. If you called it Xuefeng's second home, I wouldn't even have come. In fact, I never told him to leave. I merely said, if you don't wish to stay, you may go wherever you like." Within those joking words lies some truth. Yes, this is the kingdom of the greatest creator. In a kingdom, everyone is equal. Who am I to demand anything of others? Everyone is the master of the home. Who am I to direct them? Sometimes villagers come to make trouble, breaking the steel bars on our gates, threatening to demolish our buildings. What could I do? According to the contract, they are in the wrong and would lose a lawsuit, but our goal is harmony between people and between society and us, so I cannot act harshly. Instead, I take fine wine and cigarettes, visit them personally, bow with a smile, and sincerely plead with them to stop, promising to help whenever they face difficulties. Some friends tell me that I am still an ordinary man, busying myself daily with the construction of the home, personally selecting each site, designing every blueprint and detail, forgetting about transcendence. They ask, are you not losing the great for the small? Perhaps my requirements are too meticulous. Am I trading a watermelon for sesame seeds? Family members of the Chanyuan Celestials often cause disturbances. Threatening to report us to the police is a small matter. Frequent calls of complaint or scolding are common. Some even come in person to forcibly take their loved ones away, nearly like abduction. What can I do? I do not wish to cause pain to worldly families, nor do I want the Chanyuan Celestials to fall into despair, so I can only persuade them patiently with kind words. To the secular world, and to the families who do not understand, I am often painted as a money-hungry or lust-driven demon, cursed as a bad man, always under suspicion and watch. Even if beaten to death, I will never leave the home. This is the shared conviction of most permanent residents of the second home. Of course, no one will ever be beaten. But when mistakes occur, how should I handle them wisely? And if mistakes repeat, what then should I do? Another challenge has recently arisen. Over 10,000 monk fruits are growing beautifully and will be harvested in October. This is a major step toward solving our basic livelihood issues: food, housing, and survival. But how should we process them? Purchasing machines and equipment would cost hundreds of thousands of yuan, yet the home's financial base is very weak. We cannot afford it. But we cannot forego it either. So, we can only proceed with primitive, manual processing methods. Although this is but a game, it is a game that cannot afford any mistakes. If anything goes wrong, not only will government and police authorities come after me, but the Chanyuan Celestials themselves will not forgive me. I must ensure 3 things. The home must have sufficient material resources so that everyone's basic needs, food, clothing, shelter, health, and aging, are fully secured, including care for the elderly and education for the children. The home's environment must be beautiful, and everyone must live happily, freely, and joyfully. At least 95% of the Chanyuan Celestials must safely reach the 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, or the Elysium world, the celestial island continent. Difficult? A dead end? Riding a tiger with no way back? No, I have full confidence that these 3 goals will be achieved. June 20th, 2012.